How's it going, everybody? Welcome to RAKUYO's Deciduous Bonsai channel. I'm your host, Andrew Robson, a bonsai professional here in Portland, Oregon. We're at RAKUYO. We specialize in creating and maintaining beautiful deciduous bonsai. And on today's episode, I'm going to teach you an easy trick to help create and maintain density on Japanese maple bonsai. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. All right, thanks for tuning in today. Today, this topic is Japanese maples, one of my deepest passions in bonsai. I have so many Japanese maples here. We're in front of my Japanese maple bench right now. I have a whole host of Japanese maples over in our sales area. So if you want to come visit Rakuyo and buy a quality Japanese maple, I have probably 15 to 20 of them available for purchase today if you come here in person. But today's topic, we're going to be talking about Japanese maple, and I have two trees here that have either undergone work or haven't undergone that work. And you can really see why. This Japanese maple here is one of the oldest Japanese maples in the United States. It's about 100 years old as a bonsai, beautiful old import from Japan via the Kennett collection. And this tree was a tree that we recently worked on in our intensive program. So students from all over the country flew in and were here working on this tree to get it ready for its kind of peak growing season routine. Now, good deciduous bonsai are not sustainable systems, meaning that if you just stop doing any work other than water your trees for 1 year, a good deciduous bonsai will lose probably 30 to 40% of its branches, something we don't want on a beautiful bonsai like this. So because we're designing them as unsustainable systems, they don't naturally grow this way, we're kind of leading them into having more density than they otherwise naturally would. We have to reliably come in and do routine work in the summertime. And that's what our summer intensive class focuses on, is the different aspects of summer deciduous kind of growth management. And growth management on a Japanese maple is, for starters, you come in and you cut every other leaf off. So a Japanese maple has 2 leaves in each location. We call these opposite leaf plants. So unlike something like a beech, which has alternating leaf patterns, where you have 1 leaf, 1 bud, then an internode, and then another leaf and another bud, then an internode and another leaf and another bud, Japanese maples have a pair of leaves and buds with an internode, and then another pair of leaves and buds and an internode, then another pair of leaves and buds and an internode. And so our routine work on Japanese maple are to, after you've pinched the tree in the spring, if it's an old tree in refinement or maintenance mode, after you've pinched the tree in the spring, in the summertime, once the leaves have kind of hardened off, we're recording this video in early June here in Portland, Oregon. This is when we come in and we need to edit these structures. So you can see this old Japanese maple had every other leaf cut off of it, and it has really good light penetration. Now that's important because that light penetration is going to provide sunlight to every single solar panel that I have on here. And what that's going to do is it's going to prevent any branches from dying, because all the branches are getting light through the leaf and will be able to photosynthesize throughout the summertime. This Japanese maple here, which hasn't been worked on other than being pinched in the spring, this does not have good light penetration, and if we don't do anything to this tree, it's going to start killing off branches on the interior because those leaves are not getting any sunlight, and the tree's going to ditch those branches and focus its resources on the things that are getting sunlight. And so in early summer, kind of late spring, we need to come in here and we need to start kind of removing every other leaf on these plants. If you missed a pinch or you pinched in the wrong internode, you can trim it back to the first pair, and then of that first pair of leaves, you're going to cut 1 of the 2 leaves off. So let me show you that right now. Okay, so as we go through and work on this tree, I'm going to identify a pair of leaves, and I'm going to cut 1 of those pairs off Again, we have another pair of leaves here. I'm going to cut one of the pair of leaves off. I'm just going to go around the tree, and every single, other leaf we are going to remove from this tree. So it's a lot of cutting, but again, what this work is going to do is it's going to get sunlight to every single one of my branches. That's going to let in about 50% more light into this canopy, and that should be enough to sustain all of the ramification that we have on here. So I'm just going in and I'm looking at every pair of leaves that I have, and I am going to be removing and cutting those back to just one kind of single leaf. Here we can see this a little bit better. So again, I have a pair of leaves here. I'm going to cut one of the two leaves off. Now what happens when I cut one of the two leaves off, you might think because there's a bud attached to each one of these leaves, that the leaf remaining with a bud will grow a bigger bud, and the bud that had a leaf removed will get a smaller bud. But the funny thing about what happens with these opposite leaf plants is this one leaf that remains will equally supply energy to both of the buds that are there. It kind of takes over as the remaining solar panel for both of those buds. So cutting one of the two leaves off will not affect the bud size because the leaves are creating energy for both of those buds equally. So we can confidently come in and remove, every other leaf on these trees and not really kind of harm the tree whatsoever. So we'll just kind of come around here and again grab every other leaf off of here. So this is, on a refined bonsai, this is not a fast operation. This can take quite a bit of time to go through and do, but this is the way that you will sustain all of the ramification that you have. So that's just about it. Now I need to go catch a flight because I am one of the headliners for an ABS convention in Asheville, Carolina this weekend. So I don't have time to go through and do this for you and show you what a time-lapse video of that looks like. But I thought before I leave for that trip, so I can get another video out over the weekend, I just wanted to show you, what it looks like kind of before and after, because these two trees have a pretty stark difference. Again, this one has very good light penetration because one of every other leaf has been removed on this tree. This tree has almost no light penetration, and so it needs that operation of cutting off every other leaf to allow good light penetration and keep all of my ramification that I've worked so hard to create the last several years, keep that sustainable and healthy and strong. So again, if we didn't do this over the next several weeks, the interior leaves and branches would start to yellow, and then the leaves would fall off and the branches would die because they're not getting any energy via photosynthesis. So we need to do this to sustain and maintain old deciduous bonsai that have a lot of ramification. If we took a year off, we'd probably lose 30 to 40% of the branches on our trees, which is the opposite goal for creating quality deciduous bonsai. So that's it. It's a pretty simple task, but it's so imperative when you have a refined Japanese maple to sustain that ramification that you have. And if you have a tree that you're working on getting to be a refined tree, this is going to open up a lot more light to get it to that refinement stage, because more light penetration equals more back buds that have light that can grow and add more ramification. So this not only sustains branching and twigging that you have, but it allows space for more to come in. And that's the cycle of this non-sustainable system that gets created, is because the more we add, the more important this work is going to be kind of in the future. Now, subscribe to our channel, because on the next episode, or one of the following episodes, we're going to talk about how to deal with dwarf maples. I have a Shishigashira Japanese maple here. I'm going to share with you the special technique for pruning back these dwarf maples, because it's an entirely different process than this basic Japanese maple technique. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that. About 2/3 of the people who watch these videos are not subscribers, and when you subscribe, that really encourages us to make more videos and get this great deciduous bonsai information out across the algorithm. So really appreciate everybody who hits that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like symbol, the thumbs up symbol. And if you have any questions about this, drop them in the comment section. section. I do monitor comments and try to respond to a lot of the comments that we get on our channel. So thanks for tuning in. You've been watching Rakuyo's Deciduous Bonsai channel. If you want to get a nice quality Japanese maple to do this at home, we do have a lot of trees here for sale if you want to come by and visit us physically here in Portland. And if you have some of these trees, I hope this information has given you the confidence that you need to go out, cut off every other leaf on your Japanese maples to create and sustain beautiful levels of density. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all very soon.